Think fast. Oh, you're
see that? I'm sharp this morning.
Sharp garage manager on point.
Do you know why you got to be sharp today? Because we've got a huge day, right? Day 2.
Day 2's always moving day.
Day 2 of the detail series. So what are we doing today, Chief?
All right. So if you didn't see yesterday's video, we did the decontamination. So the car's sat overnight, and first step this morning is to jump into taping, so we can get this car all prepped up for the polishing stage.
I've decided this morning.
Yeah.
I'm garage manager today.
Of course you are.
Do you know why I'm garage manager?
Yeah, so you can sit around and do nothing all day?
No, because remember the last detail series? At your place?
Piles everywhere.
Just stuff everywhere. Bits over here, bits over there. So today I've decided, garage manager, I'm going to keep this garage looking real sharp.
Yeah.
Keep it nice and organised. I'm going to do probably 20% work. But this makes me feel so much better when you're all organised, nice and clean, because I think the result's probably going to feel a bit cleaner as well, you know?
I think so. So garage manager, he's got the table over to our side. He'll show you in a minute, all organised with our products, all ready for the day. But what we're going to do first is tape up. We've got a couple of different products here. This is the 3M Precision Poly tape, and we've also got the 3M Precision tape as well. The whole idea of this is to make sure that all of the porous plastics on the car are all covered and protected from the polish, because there's nothing worse than reaching the end of your polishing and having to scrub polish out of porous plastic. Sometimes it doesn't come out.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you'd get something like Maguire's M39, which is a spray, like a spray cleaner that does clean up that sort of porous plastic, but you want to avoid that as much as possible.
Absolutely. So we're going to use the Precision Poly for some of the contoured edges, because this tape does stretch really nicely. The green tape's really good for straight areas, things like headlights, and probably takes, what, about half an hour to tape up properly?
Yeah.
2 of us going.
And the really nice thing about this tape is it rips really easily. So I'll show you here. You know, you do like a strip there around the doors or whatever, and then just tears off really nicely. Whereas that Precision Poly is a little bit more pliable. There is a bit of a ripping technique to rip that off.
So if you get this tape and then try and just rip, it does this weird twist. So the way to rip this tape is you've got to pull it. So a little bit of a technique to this tape. I really like this tape because you can go around edges really nicely. We'll show you what it looks like as we work our way around the car. I think we'll start top to bottom. There's really no method to this, right? It's just tape everything up.
Spend the time to tape. I really recommend. That's another little tip, is to spend the time to tape up. It'll save you in the long run. So we're just finishing kind of taping up. We've got most of the car done.
Yeah, you've managed to work your way around pretty much the whole other side of the car, and what we've just realised is the Precision Poly tape here is 1/4 of an inch thinner in width than the
well, we always knew that, but we
tape.
just kind of forgot about it, didn't we?
We did. I wondered why you got around so quick.
So where I have managed to use the green tape, I managed to get just 2 strips there and cover it all. He's having to do 3 to cover in that gap. But his tape's a lot more pliable, which I think is a little bit easier to get around the curves of this trim here, whereas I struggled a little bit, but I'm not a fan of the purple tape.
Yeah, I like the purple tape. I think this is my favourite to work with, but it was. What have I done there? It's my favourite to work with, but the green tape's nice because you can get it in bigger rolls. So what we're going to do here as well, a little hot tip for you if you're doing a Tesla Model 3, these door handles here are in a satin finish. So if you polish over these, what you're going to end up with is a glossy door handle. So what we're going to do is we're going to tape those to make sure that we retain that satin finish to them. And I'm not too sure how exactly I'm going to do this, but
I think they're quite a finicky little door handle.
in general, or to do?
Just in general, like trying to use it, I don't know, it's probably because I don't use it enough.
Yeah, I think using this every day, I've got really used to these door handles. I think that's probably going to be our way to deal with that, as long as it sits back in the door nicely. Yep. And then we'll just have to figure out a way to contour some tape around the top here. It should be doable with this poly tape. Ends up a little bit messy when you're doing that, but the main bit is the edge. The edge is contoured nicely.
And then just a little bit on top, finish it up.
A little bit on top. That's not really the way to do it. Quite a tricky bit to deal with here, but it'll be worth it. Be annoyed if you end up with a glossy door handle when everything else on this car's got a matte finish to it.
What I'm real disappointed about, man,
Yeah?
today's Thursday.
Yeah?
And what happens on Thursdays?
KFC for dinner?
Not KFC for dinner.
What else happens on a Thursday?
Rubbish truck delivery.
Oh, rubbish day. No,
Rubbish day.
It's delayed today. These people got it wrong. These people got it wrong. You love the rubbish delivery day, eh?
So it's been delayed one day because of public holiday. But I love the truck. Actually, what we'll do, because it's coming tomorrow, we'll be filming tomorrow.
Yeah? Are we going to stand out there and wave like little kids
We'll be
with the
filming
rubbish
tomorrow.
truck?
So tomorrow we'll catch. Oh,
Why do you like the rubbish truck so much?
why do I like the rubbish truck?
Yeah, you're a bit odd, eh?
It's just, I don't know. I love how precise like picking up the rubbish is. So truck comes, you know, pulls upside your house, little arm comes out,
Yeah?
little arm picks up the bin,
Yeah.
flips it up, tips it all in, drops it down, puts it back in the perfect spot. I love how precise and just perfect the whole operation is. So cruisy as well, you know, you're sitting in the truck, got the tunes going, boosting all day just around the neighbourhood, picking
Boosting.
up rubbish.
I don't think you're boosting the rubbish truck.
Those guys are boosting.
Yeah?
There's nothing slow about picking up rubbish, mate.
So you like modern day rubbish. You wouldn't like to be one of those fellas who hang off the back of the truck back in like the early 2000s and like hiffing it in the back.
Nah.
You like you want to sit in your econ with your boosting.
And I reckon those trucks are all automated as well, so like, you know, the plan of where you got to drive will be all GPS logged and stuff like that. Well, I'm assuming it is.
Yeah.
And
We'll have to get you some work experience one day.
I'd
Get you on board for a ride.
Get me on board. The worst thing would be is that when the truck's full, you'd have to go to the dump to then empty it all out.
Okay, so we're all taped up now. So after we tape, we always jump into a test spot. And the reason that we do a test spot is to make sure that we find the right pad and compound combination in order to get the best result. Generally, the way that we do this is we will do this on the hood and we will find the worst area that we can find. So on this car, we found an area of the hood where there's some deeper scratches, some more swirling. And the reason you want to try and find the worst spot on the car is to make sure that you can pull those out, because if you can pull the worst out, you're going to get the lighter stuff as well. I'm hoping that we're going to get away with doing a one-step process on this car. What we mean by one step is one compound, which will be this one here. Sonax Perfect Finish. On the Rupes LHR15 polisher, we've also got the smaller 3-inch, and then we're going to use the yellow pads.
Rupes yellow pads. So
Yeah.
I think we're going to really struggle here to show scratches on this car.
It's difficult when you're working with a white car.
It's a brand new car, there is scratches, 100% there are scratches in here. We've had the garage door down, we've had the lights off, and we've had our little light out to try and find some areas of really bad scratches for this car. We don't have perfect lighting conditions here. This is something that Omni Garage is going to try and chase, because I think if you really want to take your polishing to the next step, lighting is very important.
But a hot tip there, when you're working with a white car and you don't necessarily have optimal lighting, get it as dark as you can. Turn the lights out, put your garage door down, get your light out. This is one of your favourite accessories, right?
I have the Rupes swirl finder, and I mean, this light is pretty good, so I don't know if you're going to see it there, but it does have a big circle, and then you can narrow it down. This is kind of the best we do have. We've got a couple of Ryobi lights. We're going to probably struggle here as well, but I mean, if you can't see them, when you're up nice and close, then I suppose no one else is either, right?
We'll bring you along anyway. So what we're going to do, we're going to prime the pad, get it all ready to go, and then we will work on this test spot over here. We've got some tape set out, so we should be able to peel that back.
And
so
we're going to do the
a
best we can to show you the correction coming out here, but I think definitely you're going to be correct here with doing a one-step Sonax Perfect Finish.
Yeah.
We might find some areas that need a little bit extra. We do have some Sonax CutMax, and we do have a slightly more aggressive pad. We do have some wool pads, and we also do have some microfiber cutting pads as well, but I think we're going to be very limited to having to use those.
We are, and I mean, this is probably the least aggressive of the setup that we've got. Yellow pad, Perfect Finish. We'll give this a go, see how we get on.
So setting up your pad for the first time is, these pads have got circles in the middle of it, which will line up really nicely with the middle of the backing plate here on these Rupes machines. So you want to make sure your pad's nicely lined up there. If it's not and it's slightly off center, then it's going to be unweighted on the machine, and it's going to sort of move around too much, and you're not going to be as effective as you would like when you're doing your polishing. And then you want to shake your polishing up, because, or your what are these called? Polishers. Compound.
Polish. This is a polish.
This
Yeah.
is a polish. You want to shake it up because when it's been sitting on the shelf for probably 6 odd months here, the materials inside here can sort of split. So you want to make sure that they're all nicely mixed here. And for the first time, you want to put a decent amount of polish on the pad because you want to make sure that there's polish in all these little bits of, all the little crevices here of the pad. So you just cleaned this out, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you know what? You got to
open the lid. There we go. Step 1. There we go.
Get yourself a Rupes claw tool. I recommend this. It's got a brush on one side here for sort of getting out the polish when you go to blow your pads out, and it's also got a bit of a knife edge on the end here, which is really good for buttering your pad. Exactly like this, spreading that polish around. And then you want to put 2 pea-sized drops on the pad. And now you're good to go.
Cool, so the next step in getting this pad all ready for a test spot is priming it. So we're going to go on speed setting 2. We've got a couple of dots on there, and we're just going to hold it down and just warm up this pad for a little bit.
And you sort of want to keep the machine sort of nice and flat and pretty still, and you want to do it for about 30 seconds, and that just sort of finishes the priming process.
And little to no pressure. There we go. So we should be all primed up. We've got pretty decent even coverage over the pad there. So we can add an extra 2 dots and then we can move on to our test spot in this area here, see if we can get these scratches out. So while we're doing this test spot, first thing I want to do is make sure I spread this compound out. So I'm going to start on a low speed, spread it in the area I'm working. And we'll probably start, you've really got to find a few different combos here. So I'm going to start probably with 2 or 3 passes on speed 4 is generally what I would polish on, and just kind of work our way through this and figure out what's going to best suit this type of paint. We go speed setting 2. That's our compound all spread out, and then we can crank our speed up. Speed 4. Just making sure we're moving slow, keeping that pad face even, and overlapping sections here too. That's 1 pass. And what you want to do is you want to make sure you're working in a nice, slow, controlled motion in a well, in a crosshatch type path, really, isn't it? Yeah. Keep organised. We go crosshatch. Second pass. And again, very little pressure. This hand is really just guiding the machine. I can do it with 1 hand. I'm using that more to aim. So that's 3 passes. So what we'll do is we'll wipe away the compound there, wipe away the polish, and just have a look at where we've managed to get that to. If we could get away with 3 passes, perfect finish, yellow pad, this will be a really quick job.
So the key is when you're looking for scratch with the light is to get right down close and get it on the angle there. See how Glenn's face is pretty much on the paint, and that's how you see the scratches with the light. You don't want to put the light on and stand back from a distance because you won't see anything.
It's really difficult on this white paint. We've said that a couple of times now, but okay, I can tell straight away. What do you think I'm going to say straight away? Good or bad?
Straight away, I think you've cleaned it up, but you haven't removed them all.
There's a couple in there, so I'm just looking around this area here and probably could have done with another pass or potentially another pass and a little bit more speed. However, when I come across to this side, there is quite a big difference. What I need to do is make sure that I now use a little bit of, this is CarPro Eraser. Essentially this is just an oil and polish remover, cleaner.
It just helps to remove that polish off. You know, you can sort of get away with your microfiber towel, but it is nice to have a little bit of lubrication there using that CarPro razor just to help to remove those polishing oils.
So now we've got a really clean surface. We'll have another look through there. Yeah, so there's a couple of scratches that haven't come out with that. To clean the area up really nicely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one more pass, and I'm going to go a little bit faster with my speed. I'm going to probably crank it up to 4.5 on the machine, and then we'll have effectively done 4 passes in this area. We'll peel the tape off, check it out.
So I'm doing the real best I can to try and get this. We're struggling to see this even looking at it here, so you know, think about how hard it is for the camera to even pick this up.
So give this another wipe, just so we've wiped that area under the tape as well. And what we want to see here is we want to be able to find that tape line. And I'm struggling to find it.
It's just there, I can see it coming in the bottom of the screen here, so.
I think it's somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Because this side here is definitely cleaned up a lot more. We do have a couple of really fine scratches, but when I reach that tape line, yeah, I feel like I've crossed it here. I've got quite a bit of faint scratching. So I'm pretty happy with that. We're having to look very, very hard under these lighting conditions as well to find anything in there. So I think that's going to be our combo. 4 passes, speed 4.5 on the Rupes yellow pad.
So this is the passenger side door here. So you can see right in the middle of the screen there is quite a lot of marring just up above that door handle there. We've got the, you can just see as I move that light backwards and forwards. So we're just going to see if we can remove those scratches there. And this is basically just to show you guys on camera that we are correcting the paint out a bit. Give that a wipe and let's see what we've done.
Alright, bring that light back in.
So there's the tape line there that we did, and Glenn sort of polished on this side. So as I bring that across, that's just a little bit of polish residue there, just where you've wiped. So if you wipe the bottom of that, I mean, then it's done a pretty decent job. Okay, so in the middle of the screen is a bit of a decent scratch on the front of the bumper here. If I move backwards and forwards there, you can just see it right on the top there. Just where that shadow of the camera is coming in there is a pretty decent scratch. So we're going to use our combo there and see if we can remove it. So we'll just give it a bit of a wipe. I don't think it's fully got rid of it. I can still see it a little bit. It's pretty deep. It's not quite fingernail deep.
Yeah, I'll be surprised if that's going to remove that completely. It may mask it up a little bit. Yeah.
Because remember, if anything's sort of fingernail deep, you're pretty much hard pushed to remove it, but you're just sort of rounding up the edges of the scratch. It hasn't got rid of it.
No, so that's obviously too deep in the paint there for us to get rid of.
And I don't think I'm going to find it again on here.
It's in there.
So we have done another couple of passes. It hasn't quite removed it. I think it is pretty deep. But this is the kind of area that you might want to sort of spot treat with the hybrid Nano. Or you might want to sort of step it up into a microfiber cutting pad, or maybe use a compound on there. And we're going to find a few spots of these, I think, around the car where things are slightly deeper, and we might want to spot treat just to bring the quality of the finish up. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Unfortunately, we don't have the hybrid at the moment, so we're not going to be able to spot treat those right now. But yeah, some of those small areas you could hit with a different pad. I'm not going to worry too much about them because we do actually have some deeper scratching that we haven't shown the camera yet around this area. Can you, probably coming from this angle, shooting out.
I'm really going to struggle.
The car was delivered with these scratches here.
See, you can just see them coming on the top of the frame of the camera there. They're right in the middle now.
If you've got scratching like that, there is absolutely no way that's going to come out with a polish or a compound. if your fingernail can scratch in it, as Glenn said earlier, it's not coming out. So it's a bit disappointing that the car was delivered with that, but we'll work around it.
The scratch also continues over into the headlight there, which is all covered up by tape, but yeah, I think you're going to find a few spots, and that's just the deal of having cars, right? You know, driving every day on the roads and things like that, you have to live with stuff like that. But we're going to get, I would say, not quite 100%, but we're going to be high 90s, I think, on this vehicle.
Oh yeah, it definitely helps that it's relatively clean to start with. So I guess the process from now is we'll probably head in for some morning tea. I think it's about that time, isn't it?
No, it's more like lunch, mate.
Yeah, lunchtime, and then we'll come back out. We should be able to work through this car relatively quick, and I think that's partly to do with the roof. I think Tesla definitely, but any modern day car with the big sunroofs, the panoramic roofs, make things a lot easier, because normally we probably spend our first hour and a half working on just that area. So really on this car, what we've got is a lot of big flat panels. So I would say it's really tough to put a time on it, but I think we should make really good progress on this throughout the day today, aiming to get ourselves ready to maybe do our first coat of coating in the morning. What do you reckon?
I think it's a good plan.
Cool, let's get started. Pretty hard in this section here. I'm getting really bad pad stall, so this is an area where you want to have the nano, I think, to try and work in the middle.
Yeah, so it sort of curves up, and it's not like it's a curve like that. It's sort of curved like that.
It's difficult, right? So you can plant it here. You can get that section.
Yeah.
You can't even really plant it here. You may be able to get like half an inch worth of it, and in the middle here, there's no real way to access this area here. So this is an area, if you don't have a nano, you may want to do some hand polishing, or you might want to just really try and inch up rather than come along in a direction on here. How are you getting on with the 5-inch on that?
Yeah, that's right.
area?
I mean, I can get from like there to there. Yep. You're going to have to go under the mirror a bit, and then you're probably going to have to 3-inch that.
So I think, all in all, I think the Model 3 Tesla is doable with a 5-inch and a 3.
It's not as flat as we originally thought, right?
It's not. These panels are quite deceiving.
And I mean, it's like all cars, right? You think you got an easy car, you really don't. I think most of the time, they're all probably about the same, right?
Yeah.
I don't think there's an easy car at all, but it's correcting out really nicely. I mean, one step, perfect finish. It's definitely enhanced the gloss really well. I think it's added a nice glossiness, but also it's made it feel quite slick and smooth.
It's quite noticeable on the hood, wasn't it? I think that you know, we walked past that once we had finished polishing, and you had made a comment about the gloss of it looking pretty poppy. Yeah, we're struggling quite a bit with a pad stall. I'm struggling with a 3-inch in this area here. You're struggling with a 5-inch on a lot of panels, and are you able to counteract it by powering up the tool and going speed 5?
You can kind of, yeah. You can a little bit.
I find that that's my biggest challenge. The reason that I default to this tool here and like to use this is pad stalls are a lot easier to manage on a smaller machine. This is really torquey. You love the 5-inch, don't you? I feel like you're way more experienced on that tool.
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky though.
What we've been trying to do as well as we go is make sure we blow these pads out pretty regularly. So I'm probably onto my last pass here before we need to head outside and blow these out.
So after every couple of passes, or you know, half a panel or so, you want to come out and blow your pad off. You can see here, this pad is all caked up full of polish. So get yourself a compressor and an air gun, and just put it on low speed. And with the machine on, you can just blow out all the polish. So you can see after blowing that out, you can see that all that polish that was caked in on here has largely been removed. Now this pad is ready to put another couple of pea-sized drops on here and start polishing the next half of that panel. I recommend getting yourself one of these. It's a Bigfoot Rupes claw tool. This thing, not only has it got the brush here to sort of do that, to sort of reactivate your pad, but it's also got the little knife here. It is used for buttering the pad, you know, to when you're starting to use your, or when you're starting to prime it, but it's also good to remove the pad off the backing disc here, or the backing plate. So get it started like that, insert it, let's try this way, all the way, so push it all the way back so that's inserted into the circle there, and then one thumb it, and you should be able to peel your pad off. If you're not going to use that tool like that and you're sort of pinching the end of the pinching the end of the polishing pad here, you can sort of tear the fibers inside there, and that means that pad's useless. So I recommend getting yourself one of these. Super easy. Alright, so the other part of the deal of polishing here is actually being able to remove the polish. So you have seen us use this yellow towel. We have used this before in plenty of other detail series. So this is well, all these microfiber have come from the rag company. That's where we buy all our microfiber from, right?
Yeah.
So this is called their car wash towel. It's 16 by 27 inch, and it's got a 320 GSM. It's the same pile on either side, and it's got an overled or overlocking stitch on the outside of the outside there.
Tell you what I like about that towel. I like the size. I like the way that you can fold that over multiple times, so I think you can get away with using less towels in a detail than any other towel, but that's probably as far as I go with the likes on it.
Yeah, I think yeah, you're probably right. I would like to have maybe 16 by 16.
Yeah, so a square towel.
As a square towel. But just using this now in this detail series, a couple of things I don't like about this towel. I thought it was great the first time because we knew no different, right?
No.
But this time we're having to do one wipe, and it's looking quite smeary, and it's not taking off the oils like we would expect, and then another wipe and a bit more buffing, and even then it's still being a bit tricky to come off. I don't know if that's just the polish with the CarPro rays and that kind of combination, but it's making it very tricky to remove. You don't want to be buffing too hard because we're just going to be reintroducing more scratches, right?
No, what I'd like to be able to do with the towel is almost wipe in one direction, because you don't want to be going like this. You want to wipe in one direction, maybe flip it, come back the other way and have it clear off.
And even I would like to have a pile to almost dry wipe. You know, this is not doing very well dry wiping.
No, it's not. You have to use this with something like Surface Prep or a razor to get a good result.
So Omni Garage being Omni Garage, I just went out and pretty much bought nearly every single rag company towel that they make. I bought one of one size. I didn't buy like, I'm not explaining that very well. I didn't buy every size of every towel. I just bought one size of one type of towel.
So you basically got a piece of every type of fabric they make.
Yeah. I didn't buy things like the sports towel, or they do have a couple of cleaning microfibers for around the home. I didn't buy that stuff. I just bought car specific towels, and I bought them based on the little description that the rag company give you about which towel they like, which towels they use for, and things like that. So yeah, I was being a bit selective on what I bought, but I pretty much bought everything. And we've had experience with our towels, our microfiber, where we probably owned about 50% of them anyway.
Oh yeah, we've got a lot of rag company towels.
So I went ahead and bought this towel. Now this is a 16 inch by 16 inch. This is called their, this is a 300 GSM. I think this is called the Edgeless 300. 300 GSM, and it's a 70-30 blend, meaning 70% of it is, I don't know, 70% polyester and 30% polyamide, whereas this towel here was an 80-30 split.
80-30.
80-20.
80-20.
Oh, it's been a long day. 80-20. This was an 80-20. So, I mean, this is also, so being edgeless, it's just been cut. I guess it's called laser cut. And so 16 by 16. So this is kind of the size that I just discussed that I'd quite like. It's got sort of similar pile either side, 300 GSM. I don't know how well this towel is going to do, but we're going to try and see how good is it removing the polish. Next towel up was this towel here. So again, this is 16 inch by 16 inch. This is called a I don't know.
I'll get the sheet.
Hang on, let me read the sheet.
Oh, you got the sheet.
I got the sheet. This is called a... Oh, this is an edgeless 365, so it's 365 GSM, so slightly heavier weight, but it's also dual pile. So on one side, the pile is slightly longer, and then on the other side, it's slightly shorter. This is also a 70-30 blend. 70-30 blend.
Is that what you want in a towel though? Do you think you want higher pile on one side for polish removal?
Well, I guess the idea of having, dual pile is that first wipe, higher pile, it's got the longer fibers to get in and basically pick up that polish and pull it off the paint. And then for your second wipe, you want lower pile to sort of finish wipe.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think you probably need more towels if you're going to do that rather than being able to flip a towel over multiple times and get the same result.
So I guess this is being 365, that's slightly higher GSM than that and slightly higher GSM than that. And then the last towel, it's quite a lot thicker.
What does it not feel like?
It's pretty plush.
Okay, so dual side or dual pile side.
So dual pile again, so we've got longer on one side, longer microfiber on one side, and then slightly smaller pile on the other side. Again, it's 16 by 16, so 16 inch by 16 inch. It's 70-30 blend again, and this is called their Creature... I thought I remembered all this. This is called the Creature Edgeless because it's got that sort of laser cut edge on the side, and it's quite a lot heavier, so it's 420 GSM. So definitely the plushest of the lot. So what we're going to do is, I suppose, have a little play here, have a feel out what we want, because you don't know unless you try, and the only way by trying is going and buying every single towel.
Yep.
So we'll polish the little section, we'll remove it, see what we like, and we'll come back to you with a bit of feedback and see how we get on.
Sounds good. I'm excited to try these out.
Do you want to swap sides? If we swap sides, then we can just wipe it off with our microfiber and just...
That's a good idea, because I've done here, and here.
Yeah.
So I do those two.
Right, let's swap over.
Yep.
So we've purposely not wiped off the polish here, but we're going to go through and use our microfiber and just talk through our thoughts again, eh?
Yeah, it gives us a good chance on some big patches if we don't wipe off for a while, because what you want to do is compare them back to back, right?
So what are your initial thoughts on this blue towel here?
Not a fan of the blue. I think the blue is my least favourite out of them all. That's the lowest pile, right?
Lowest pile, yeah.
Yeah. It's... have another play with it. I don't know.
Should we also try the door jamb towel as well?
Okay, yeah, because it's a really plush towel.
So that door jamb towel that we usually use is it's a lavender colour. It's an Eagle Edgeless 350, so that'd be 350 GSM, 16 by 16.
Okay.
So we usually use this in our drying process. This is the towel here.
So I've just had an extended go with the blue here, I feel, and
so
this is just
that's the edgeless. Blue's not the one?
Blue's not the one. It's too... The pile is too low. I feel like the towel is too light.
That's almost like an interior towel, right?
Yeah, it would be. Or just a all-purpose towel, really.
Yeah. So far the consensus is we're not happy, we're not sold on one or the other. I do want to try, have a hold of those. Let's just try this lavender on this corner here.
Okay. I've just noticed a spot here, but come back and hit too.
And you need to come back and do this bit here because I got too much pad still, so I gave up. This doesn't work well with the, see how that holds on the liquid too much? It's wet already.
Yeah, it is.
Do you want to do a final wipe?
I mean, the high pile is quite nice, but you're right, this absorbs. It absorbs and almost...
the ice cream truck?
Yeah.
How good would an ice cream be right now?
It'd be quite nice. You go flake?
I'd go single, the single cone.
Yep.
I'd go choc top, like fully coated in chocolate.
Yeah.
And I'd go flake.
Yeah. I think you've got it, right?
Yeah. That's like a $5 ice cream though, from
an ice cream man.
From Mr. Whippy, yeah. It's even probably more. They're expensive, eh?
I've never stopped at Mr. Whippy since I was
it's just soft serve, soft serve.
Yeah, and then dunked in the chocolate.
Dunked in.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like to go nuts on there too.
Oh no,
you don't like nuts.
nuts.
So this isn't the towel either. So that was just a bit of an ad hoc thing, so that's not the right one either. What do you reckon about the yellow then? Let's do the yellow on this little section. Here we go. I think we're leaning towards the green.
I'm leaning toward green right now.
So the green one is the highest pile of all. What was it, 420?
Yeah, I believe so, 420. It's got the double-sided, so the two different piles.
You've always wanted a slightly higher pile tail. You thought, you know, a little bit more plushness.
I think it'd be nice to have a higher pile because I just feel like it's more delicate on the paint for that first wipe, because I feel like it grabs more material as well. So when you get to your second wipe, you're a bit cleaner. But I like the idea of having the same pile on both sides of the towel.
It's definitely that orangey yellow towel, or this. I do like that. I do like this side for the first wipe. So this is the higher pile for the first wipe, and then I do like how it's slightly lower on the other side for the second wipe. Definitely those 3 or 4 towels that we've been using I reckon is better than the current yellow one.
Yeah, I think so, apart from the blue. The blue's right at the bottom for me. That's not made for this purpose, the blue towel.
It does feel a bit grabby,
yep.
But I think that's the pile just pulling out the... Because then when you go to the second wipe, what I don't like about microfiber is that when they get to the point where this top layer starts to, when you bend it on the second layer like that, these two slide. And you know how when they slide then you get...
Yep, and it feels like the towel's grabby at that point.
Well this doesn't really do that. So they're not sliding over each other.
Well, I've got a little section here that I might do, and then I'll clean up with a razor on that bit, I think, and have another play with that towel.
This is looking like probably one that we're really quite interested to have another play with. We do have another card that we've got to detail. We do have another chance of having to go through this microfiber. So work in progress, but you know, we're narrowing it down, I think.
Yeah, I think we're getting there. I think it's a good exercise. Bought every towel to try and find the best one, right, rather than just rely on what others are telling us.
Yep.
Be very easy to
write it off real quick, you know.
Yeah, just based on what others are saying.
Sometimes people do that, you know, they write it off based on an opinion, or they don't really have an experience themselves.
Don't like green though.
It comes in a couple of other colours.
I don't know what colour I associate with polishing. To be honest, white. White's
well,
the colour
it's nice to have a colour that sort of you do associate with, you know.
Yeah.
So that towel, I'm just looking on the Rag Company website. That towel comes in, I
mean, we've used yellow, so I associate yellow just on the basis that we've been using it, but I think a white or a grey.
Nah, so you don't have that option. So you have black,
grey,
green, blue, grey, maybe two, I think it's 2 black in there.
Yeah.
So the whole idea of having a lighter colour towel means that you can see if you're pulling off dirt, or you can see when it's loaded and see when it's dirty.
Yeah, I like the idea of that. But then actually a darker colour, you'll be able to see all the polish residue building up in there, right? Maybe the blue white or something. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we could try a couple.
Right.
They are $3.25 each.
Okay, I think we could probably splash out and get all the colours when we figure out exactly which towel.
It'd be nice if you could buy them in a bulk box. Oh, that's a single. I think they, oh yeah, so you can do, box of 10, which is $2.60 each, save 20%.
Yeah.
Box of 50, $2.30, save 30%. The key we've found, and I originally bought for the WRX, I originally bought 20 removal towels, polish removal towels, which is the key number, I think. We've had 10 of the yellow, we've blown through 10, we probably want 5 more, so I think 20 is a good number. So you can buy this in box of 10, so just get 2 of them.
2 boxes, perfect.
2 boxes.
I think 20 is a great number because we've used the 10 each, plus all the sample towels, so we're probably close to 20.
Yeah.
16 maybe, 17?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you usually drop 1 or 2 and you wipe your hands on the other, and well, we haven't done the glass either, so what we're gonna have to do is probably wash a bunch.
Yeah, and play again.
And play again, yeah.
So plan from here on out, we're getting really close to finishing this up. Got a couple of spots to do here. Then we pretty much just got the rear bumper and the side skirts.
Yeah.
And then we're at a point where we've finished our 1-step polish.
So I think we're not going to film any more polishing. What we're going to do is just give you a walk around the car when it's all finished before we coat, and that's how we'll end this section of work.
Yep, so we'll see you shortly when we show you the finished result, 1-step polishing. Right, we're all done with our polishing. We managed to get through the single step in just one day.
So this is a new day. apprentice turns up late again. You were like 20 minutes late this morning.
I was 16 minutes late.
16 minutes late.
Oh, I got the wrong Omni Garage shirt on again.
That's all right.
As I've been told.
But
that's
garage
right.
manager's on point, so you know the $4 that we'll make out of this video.
Yeah.
I get most of it, okay?
Okay, fair deal.
I'll
shake on that one.
I'm gonna dock your wages.
Okay. So what we'll do, we'll take you around the car and point out a few different areas which work really well, and then we've got a few problem spots as well. But I think that we've done pretty well pulling out all of the scratches that we could with the gear that we've got, right?
So we used the Rupes 5-inch polisher and the 3-inch polisher on a Rupes yellow pad, and we used Sonax Perfect Finish. Yeah. Pretty much for the whole car.
And there's a couple of spots where we spot treated with the 3-inch with some Meguiar's microfiber cutting pad with CutMax, and we'll show you what those areas where they're generally high impact spot. So.
And the beauty of using those Sonax, that Sonax polish is that it's really low dusting.
Yeah.
So when you're working in a confined environment like this where there's poor airflow and there's no extractors and stuff, low dusting is very key. Pretty much the garage is still clean, pretty much how we started, and it's a really nice product to work with, corrects really well, but not only that, it leaves a really nice sheen and a nice gloss to the paint, really brings it out well, so it finishes down really nicely.
Yeah, I think one of the things I've noticed is that we've almost got it's almost like a pearl speck to the paint now when it was really flat to begin with.
Quite dull to start with.
Yeah, so let's walk around and we'll show you a couple of key spots.
All right, so straight off the bat, this is the worst spot here. So this is almost like, I don't know if it's a bit of road gravel, but road rash, or this is an actual scratch, but you can see it starts over the top of the headlight there, and it keeps coming back all the way back over the top of this fender here.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see that very well on the camera,
come
but
down here,
there is no hope that we would be pulling that out with polish. That's a body shop.
That's body shop, and the thing is that if you can get your fingernail in it, then it's too deep to correct out. So that is the worst spot of the whole car. There's another little spot on the front bumper here, which we did show you on camera that we tried to take out. It's just here. That also hasn't come out. And there's a few sort of paint chips just underneath the bottom of the bumper there, but that's expected. I mean, that's what happens when you drive the car, I guess.
Yeah, 3,000 kilometers on this, and I mean, you've got a huge front bumper, right, to catch all of those rocks, so you're going to end up with that unless you PPF it.
But as we walk around here, this car has corrected out really well using that one-step Sonax Perfect Finish. Things like high impact areas like the door handles and stuff like that, they all corrected out really well.
Yeah, these areas are really clean, and I mean, these were, as you saw from the earlier shots, this area here was really messed up, and I thought that we might have to do a two-step on those, but Perfect Finish worked really well.
And here as well, this door was probably worse than that door.
Yeah, this is my daughter's door, so this was the worst one. So I guess.
And that's 100% perfect now.
Yeah, so all ready for her to mess up on school drop off Monday morning.
There is a little stone chip just here.
Yeah, right in there.
Nothing you can do about that.
No, stone chips. Again, unless we had a touch-up pen, nothing we can do there, but that's pretty minor.
And if we continue to walk around the front of this side here, there's only one other spot at the back that you struggled with, right?
Yeah, there was. It was just above. It was a really weird spot, and I don't know why, because you don't push on the boot. It was higher than this. It was up in this area.
No, up here.
This area here was really deep with some of the scratches in it, and they were more swirl-like. I got no idea why it ended up like that, but that's the area that we had to spot treat with.
But this is a kind of area here where people can push down when they're wiping.
It is. So
you can get quite a lot of force to push down here because you're up high, and so that's an area that could get scratched quite a lot. So you had to cut out. You had to use did you use a wall pad or microfiber?
I used microfiber cutting pad with CutMax on the 3-inch, and I ended up doing I did 2 sets of 4 passes.
Yeah.
So quite a lot.
And you've made it look better.
Yeah, it's not perfect in there.
It's not perfect. So you've just where the scratches were, you've just sort of curved them a little bit so the light's not coming onto it, so it's not as pronounced to the eye. And the other little area here this is where the charging port is for this car.
Yeah.
So this plastic flap pops up, and this is a really high impact area, and so there is minor scratching on this plastic here. Yeah. We did give it a quick once over, but you don't want to go too much onto here because you'll burn through that coating that's on that plastic. Yeah,
so we polished the tail lights, but we didn't touch the headlights. We don't want to ruin the UV, the UV coating on the front, so they were all taped up. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with the result that we got for a one-step process that took us.
Yeah.
We probably started polishing It's probably about 10:30 a.m. and I think we were all done by 5 o'clock. So we had a decent break in there for some lunch as well. Now, keeping in mind, you times that by 2 when you work out your man hours. If you're doing this by yourself, you wouldn't have got through this in a day, but I think we made great progress, and I'm really, really happy with the result that we got on the paint.
So yeah, just looking at this, we don't like to really put numbers on it. People love to know how much percentage you've managed to correct the paint. Well, that's just not quite accurate. I would say that this car, those, what are they, 4 or 5 problems that I've just showed you on the whole vehicle, if you can count them on one hand, you can almost say that this car has been corrected to close to perfection, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's, yeah, I can't put a number on it. It's too tough, but I think the way to describe it is we have removed everything that we could have with the tools we had on hand.
Yep.
Anything else would have needed to go to touch-up paint or potentially to a body shop.
And to be honest with you, the cars that we've done, although they have been older and had more mileage on them, this car is probably the best one we've done.
Yeah. So what is going to happen now is we're going to pull the car out of the garage. We're going to get this environment really, really clean. Even though we said these were low dusting, we're going to make sure the garage is blowing out. We wipe the car off to get it all ready for that next step, which is going to be the ceramic coating.
All right, so that's a real quick sort of walk around the car to show you what the paint looked like after we finished polishing, and so I think we're really happy with that result.
Oh, absolutely. Stoked for the fact that it only took us 1 day as well. We almost have an extra day up our sleeve now, which is really nice.
Yeah.
So basically, next step here is we're going to start working on the glass. So we are going to give it a polish more for a deep clean, and then we're going to work on coating it. We've got a new coating that we're going to play with this glass. So make sure you check back tomorrow. We're going to be working on that through the afternoon, and we'll see you tomorrow for the glass coating.